Hello, people. Welcome to Holistic Edu-Consult. And my name is Olubumi Mercy Odiaka. Yes, you know, Holistic Edu-Consult is about bringing to the fore the domains of education that we customarily neglect in the education system. You know, we are about the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor aspect of education. And you know that we usually tell you all the time that education is not just for the school alone. Education can be formal or informal. So in your place of work, education is taking place. In your place of work, education is taking place. Even as a doctor, you're educating your patients. As an MD in your place of work, you're educating those that work with you and your clients as well. So education cuts across every sphere. So I want you to know that this is not just for those in the four walls of a school, but for everyone who is an individual who is yearning for knowledge. So welcome to this session of Holistic Edu-Consult, and today's topic is spirituality in education. Spirituality in education. I have professionals in the house. I have coaches, mentors, I have trainers, I have HR personnel, I have pastors. Yes, pastors. And I have a wonderful woman who is a co-woman with me. You know, we just finished our International Women's Day, so I'm trying to hype the women now. You're welcome to this session. So welcome with me to this session, Coach JMT Peters. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome back. And I have here Onye Odiaka. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Nice to be here.
You're welcome. Okay, and I have with me my coach, the inspirer himself, BC Akode.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
We are privileged to have you here with us at Holistic Edu-Consult. All right, I'm going to dive straight in because if you go through our post, you will see that I've posted their bio there. Everything about them is already on our page, and I'm sure you already know who they are and what they do. So because of our time, I'm going to dive straight into today's topic. Like I said earlier, today's topic is centered on spirituality in education. Now, we know education can both be formal and informal. We know education can take place in school, in the society. It can take place anywhere. And I'm sure you know that there are three domains of education, which is the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor domain of education. I think there's an interruption somewhere. Okay. All right. So I'm going to dive straight in now. So let's hear you. What do you think spirituality in education means? We have Palmer who have defined spirituality in education on the past. But to you now, what is spirituality in education? I'm going to start with you, Coach JMT Peters.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening once again. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad to be here. I'd also want to say thank you to welcome Coach BC Akode and Mr. Onye Odiaka as well. I'm glad to be here with you. And actually, when I got this invite, I was like, how am I going to be talking about spirituality? I'm not a pastor. But Bumi had to tell me that, oh, don't worry, we are going to do this together. And I'm so glad that I have two of my, orgas, let me call them orgas. I have two of them here, so I'm not afraid at all. So thank you very much. Okay, so before I go into definition of spirituality, first of all, let's separate the two of them. So let me first of all define spirituality, and then I define education. Okay, so that at the end of the day, we bring both of them together so we can have a proper understanding of the topic. So you all know Google is our friend. There's actually nothing we do today without going to check with Google. Even to cook, you go to Google to go and check. So when I got the topic, I had to go to Google to check exactly what spirituality is. So Google defines spirituality as the quality of being concerned more with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. That's Google definition. And then while I was doing my research, I had to, I got another definition, and that sounds a little bit more simple. I could understand that, better. And it says spirituality is a state of having a connection to a divine being, to a divine being or world. It's a feeling which involves a superior or divine belief over our human nature. I'll say that again. Spirituality is a state of having a connection to a divine being or world. It's a feeling which involves a superior or divine belief over our human nature. So thank God for this topic. Prior to now, maybe I would have just said that, when you are spiritual, yeah, you are religious, you can speak in tongues, you can do this, you can pray, you can left to me. I'm sure that's what I would have been saying. But thank God for this topic that made me, go a little bit into doing, some research that gave me this definition that I really love so much. So education, on the other hand, is a process of learning and acquiring knowledge, skills, morals, values, beliefs, and personal development with this being defined, it makes it easy that in spirituality, you cannot separate both of them. Okay, it's very important in education. You need to spiritual. I've heard a lot of messages about spirituality, from different men of God and all that. And now it's beginning to make more. I'm beginning to understand it better than the way I used to understand it before. So to be spiritual is very important, even in education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I love that definition of spirituality. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the inspire. What is spirituality in education to you?
Well, I think, let me see, thank you once again for that. And it's great to be on the platform with you. And when you say of that, I don't know where you got that from, but it's always an honor to be connected with you. And let me also use this opportunity to say congratulations to Onyinya Odiaka, who is now a certified coach, a Maxwell Leadership certified coach for that matter. To be on this platform together. Thank you, Olubimi, for making it happen. Yeah, when I got to hear spirituality in education, I was a little bit also taken aback because I was wondering what are we talking about here? I wanted to know. So I did some search, and I thank God for what you've done. And I think it's an associate professor, Jane, that said that spirituality in education refers to that deep connection between the student, the teacher, and the subject matter. And that immediately for me speaks to the fact that we are speaking in a subject matter to another spirit being from one spirit being, and we are creating honesty in the communication that makes the communication to actually work for what it was meant to work for. You see, a lot of times when people are talking to people, you begin to hear people getting lost in the middle of the communication, and that's because there's no connection. Until we connect, we are not able to really pass on the message. Now, in the world of education, I've had teachers and I've had teachers. There have been teachers in my life who, when they are speaking to you, you get what they are saying. And when there are other teachers, when they are speaking to you, you are not getting what they are saying. The difference is actually the connection that has been established. So when a teacher is speaking and there's a connection with the student and a connection with the subject matter, because first of all, the teacher needs to be connected with the subject matter, which means that they grasp an understanding of the subject matter. They are not speaking from their head, but they are speaking from their heart. And then it connects with the person that is listening or the student that is listening. Then the student and the teacher get into this place of oneness. And like, let me see, I was talking about spirituality and also defining education, fantastic definition. You see that there is this morality there, there's this honesty there, there's this openness, there's this reality where I'm speaking not from my head but from my heart, so there's a connection. But one of the things I came to when I was looking at this subject is the fact that subjects are not actually difficult because they are difficult. They are actually difficult because there's no connection between the teacher and the students. And you agree with me that some subjects are very difficult and the students run away from the subject. But when a teacher is nice and the subject becomes easy and the students want to listen because there's a connection. And this happens not just in the classroom, but even in the church where I serve, in the coaching work, in speaking, you would find out that it's the connection. That's where the spirituality comes into it, where I understand the subject matter at a deep level. I speak from an honest position, and because of that, my students are able to grasp what it is that I'm talking about. Let me just use the mic for now.
You can see that when you see coaches and mentors and trainers speaking, you know they are there. See the way Coach JMT broke it down. He first of all told us about spirituality and then education and married both of them together. Then what the inspire speak about spirituality and education as well. I'm already connected to you and what you're talking about. So I think spirituality and education is actually taking place here too. So thank you so much, sir. Okay, Oyinye, can we hear from you? What is spirituality in education to you?
It's an honor to be here with my coaches and leaders. Coach JMT, I've followed her over the years. And of course, I am here because of the influence of PBA in my life. So it's such an honor to be on this call with him. And thank you so much, Ibumi, for this honor. I believe strongly that one unfortunate aspect of education that, we have had over the years is the assembly-like kind of education that we all had, where information was dumped on us without actually helping us develop this connection that, Coach PBA, the inspirer, talked about living and learning and, living what we're learning, because it's not just about passing on information, it's about actually living what we are learning as a result of the connection. So I said here that education is learning that turns towards expanding or the expansion of awareness. In other words, both as teachers, both as coaches, as people in a place that influence others, we need to find a way to expand the awareness that they have. We need to find what it takes to make them connect with the things around them. Spirituality, I put it down here simply as an inner belief system that helps an individual rely on his strengths and inner stability, comfort, and wholeness. Something that delivers proper happiness. So I summed it up as spirituality in education is a fusion of that belief system in the learning process that will aid the stability of any individual, children, adults, or anyone at all in taking hard decisions about life generally that will enhance their happiness and peace of mind, while balancing it with proper morals and values. Like PBA mentioned, you can't effectively deliver the kind of teaching we expect today without living it out. So it has to be a connection. Your head, your heart, connecting with the subject and the students in order to actually allow them live out the things that they should live out. Before we continue, let me at this point say that, growing up, there is this do as I say mentality and not as I do. It's an attitude. Do as I say. So you see teachers who do something different and they teach us something different. In this generation, of course, it didn't work then. In this generation, it is not going to work. So spirituality in education is an understanding that there's got to be a fusion of spirituality, morals, values, teachers, parents, and adults in the lives of children and everyone being core role models in living out the things we want to see in our society.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I like that last statement that there's got to be a fusion between all the aspects of education, not just one, not just two, not just three, but all of them together. Thank you so much. So those days we say do as I say. But today, it is not just do as I say, there's got to be the do as I do part of it. That is a great one. Thank you, coaches. Thank you for that deep explanation of what spirituality in education is. Okay, now, we know what it is. We understand what it is. We know it is the connection between the teacher, the students, and the subject matter. But now, how do we achieve this deep connection now? How do we achieve this deep connection between, okay, maybe let's just make it personal to you. Coach MSC, you know, I know you are an HR personnel and you work with oil and gas, and now you help people to develop or achieve what they want to achieve. You help them develop their skills and you help them boost their productivity. How do you do this? Because I know for you to be able to achieve this particular productivity or helping them boost their skills, there has to be a connection between you, the people you're helping, and the message you're passing to them, how you're helping them. So how do you achieve this connection with them? Over to you, Coach.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I had to put off my video when I discovered that the internet was fluctuating. So if it happens again, I would have to put off my video. But I hope you can hear me.
We hear you.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
All right. So let me just put off my video. I don't know what's happening, but it keeps telling me that the connection is not too good. But since you can hear me, I think that's fine. All right, so thank you very much for that question. For me as a person, it's very important that whatever we want anyone to be or whoever we want to influence, we must be a good role model to such people. Whether it's in the workplace, whether our children, whether it's in school, the students, we should always know that whatever they see in us, and you have already mentioned it, I think Coach Onyinye also said that children or people don't do what you ask them to do. They do what they see you doing. So if you're not doing the right thing, I'm sorry to say that they would never follow or do what you have asked them to do. So as a person who is trying to influence another person, it is very important and it's very critical that you walk in the right path. You must walk your talk. When you say do this, they must see you as doing what you have asked them to do, or else they will not be doing the right thing. So that basically is what works for me. What I want to see in other people, I want to make sure I'm role modeling that to them so they can also do what I want them to do. It doesn't make sense, when you tell people, go in this pattern, do it this way. But you as a person, you're not doing that. As a teacher who is, I remember, when I was in school, I don't know if they still do that in schools anymore, where you have your subjects in Bible knowledge or CRS or Islamic religious studies and all that. I don't know if they still do that in schools anymore. But I remember when I was growing up, when I was in secondary school, we do all these subjects. And, we are always very interested when it's time to study our Bible knowledge, when it's time for that subject, we are always very interested because I am always very interested about stories. I love to listen to stories, especially Bible stories. Okay. So, and, let me give an example of a teacher. You are a Bible study teacher, and you teach your students how to, things in the Bible. Take, for instance, let's talk about maybe the 10 commandments in the Bible. Don't steal, don't lie, don't do this, and don't do that. And you as a teacher, after teaching your students all these commandments, and then they see you lying, or what you have asked them to do, you are not doing the same thing. And children of these days, you can't bamboozle them. When you
No
tell them
question.
something that is wrong, before you know it, they are asking you questions. So you can't manipulate their brains. It is not possible. They will keep asking you questions. So for me, that is what I look forward to when I am, as a coach or as a trainer. That is what I want. That's the area that I'm, guiding people towards, or the people I'm coaching. What are they saying inside of me? Why do they want me to be their coach? Why am I training them? What are they saying inside of me? Why should they hear what I have to say? Why should they follow my footsteps? So if I'm not doing what I want them to do, of course, that means what I'm saying basically is rubbish, is nonsense, because I'm not telling them the truth. I am not being honest. Like Coach BC Akonde said, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be truthful, because they are watching you. Whatever you say, they are watching. If you don't say it the right way, they would attack you. So you must know where you're going. So basically, that's what helps me in everything that I do. I want to make sure I'm a good role model, so that when they're seeing me, they're seeing what I'm doing, they are following my footsteps, not saying something different and I am doing something different. So that's what has helped me basically in my job.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Practice what you say, because you
Yes,
practice
walk the
before
talk.
you say to them. Exactly, walk the talk. Walk the talk. Okay, I'm going to go straight to Onyo Diaka. I know you're a coach, just like the Inspire corrected me that you're now a certified John Maxwell coach. So, Coach Onyo Diaka, I know you are an HR personnel and a maintenance manager, and you're also a pastor. But before I go to your place of work, how you manage this deep connection between yourself, your clients, and your workers, as a pastor, when you're preaching, I'm sure you talk to your congregation, and at the same time, you deliver a message. So how do you connect yourself, the message, and the audience together? How do you achieve this deep connection? How do you achieve this spirituality in education? Over to you, sir.
Thank you for that. One underlining truth for me is what we say in the John Maxwell team, that we are people of value who give value. So I understand that both as a pastor, as the HR manager, and the other units that I head, that I deal with people, and people matter, according to Coach PBA will always, the Inspirer will always say, people matter. And if people matter, and you understand that you are a person of value who give value, it helps you in taking time to ensure this deep connection. So you're not just teaching them. You're not just talking because you want to talk. You are talking because you understand that these people are valuable. And for them to do better, they need to know better. And since you have been put in such a position to actually help them know better, you put in a lot of effort. Now, one of the things I've done over the years is I built myself in such a way that the experiences I've had growing up, I try to ensure that I use it as leverage to educate others, not just in helping them not to repeat my mistakes, but in giving them a shoulder to be better than I am. Always I do that in the office and the church. So by the time I get to church and I tell you there are two ways to actually grow in life. Either you learn from Onyinye, or you learn from this other guy that I also know, my assistant, who just grew up the God way, had life beautiful because he knew God early, and he doesn't have a lot of complications in his life. Or you learn from me, who had a lot of mistakes, learned the hard way, and God had to step in to help me. So I present these two options, and I tell you that you can actually choose the better path. But if you want to learn from my mistake, you're welcome. And I assure you, you're going to receive it hard. So I try to connect with all the vulnerabilities that I have. I bring it to the table to let you know that this young man talking is not here because he's qualified. He's here because God showed him mercy. He has learned over the years from his mistakes, from his failures. And now that he's here, you can actually climb on my shoulders to make your life beautiful. So it's easy for people to relate with me. At some point, they tagged me one of the worst HR practitioners in my office, because most times that I am supposed to be weaker, as it were, in quotes, I still believe people will say, give trust ahead, give them 10 over 10 ahead. I still believe that there is some element of good in that individual you want to totally cast away. I still believe that something good can come up. So let's give him a little bit of time. Let's give him a little bit of opportunity. And that is the way I've been able to connect. It works every time for me, because I lay bare my vulnerability and I let you know that this is the path you can take. This is how it is. This is how I have lived it. These are my errors. These are my failures. And now I am succeeding. It's important that you learn the path. So we model what we teach most often.
Thank you so much. I think the word you're looking for, or the statement you're trying to look for, is that you believe in people. You believe in people irrespective of what every other person says. And I think I remember, let me digress a little. I remember a while ago when somebody was, actually about 3 or 4 years ago, when somebody was talking to me about you, and the person said, even if Onyinye sees a rag, he believes something good can still come out of that rag. And that statement actually hit me, because for a person to say that, it means that person has studied and watched you do what you do. And I think that is what connects you to your people. That is what connects you to your people. Then in the HR class where you said they tag you as the worst HR, I think the people that will look at you as the worst HR are the people that are not open-minded.
Now they celebrate it. Now they are thankful that I was the way I was. Because I've been able to build teams, not just in the maintenance, not just in sales, not just in several areas. I've built a number of teams that are trustworthy. When things happen in other organizations that they hear it, they ask me, how come it's not happening here? And like on Friday, just yesterday, I told my chairman that what he reported happened somewhere else couldn't have happened here, because everybody that came through me, and almost all the local staff we have came through me. Everybody that came through me have to live out what I carry. And since I didn't model any of those things, it's going to be difficult for anybody in my organization to actually do otherwise, because they know my standards, they know the value I bring to the table, they understand the principles I live by, so it's difficult for them to go against it, even when there's nobody watching.
You replicate yourself in them. That's great. That's great. And I think one of the things we do wrongly is that we just want to follow the norm. This is the way it has been done from the ancients, from the heyday. So we want to continue to do it the same way, but there are other ways to do things to achieve even greater results. Or until we begin to bring out all those things, all those other ways, we may just stick to the olden days way of doing things. And the truth is, we won't grow. We won't grow until we test different methods. We may not grow. Thank you so much, Onyinye Odiaka, for that. Oh, sorry, Coach Onyinye Odiaka. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the Inspire. So, how do you achieve this deep connection? I know you're a coach. At least you mentored me, you coached me. And during our coaching session, I saw the way I was able to connect with you. So how do you do these things? How do you bring about this connection between yourself, your client, and the message?
I think the beginning point, thank you very much, Onyinye. Very fantastic thoughts there. And you see, what I read from what you say and what I agree with, what I think works, is the fact that it begins with authenticity. In all sincerity, when we are authentic, people know. When we are phony, people also know. You might not say it, but they see it. Because you see, again, we're talking about spirituality and education. We are spirit beings. And because we are spirit beings, we are able to always discern beyond the facade. If you are talking and what you are saying is not from your heart, people find out. They tend to know. They are able to know that what you are saying is not connecting. They know it's not working. They will be able to know. So it begins with that authenticity, first and foremost. Authenticity. But again, for you to connect at that level, on that spiritual level with people, one thing is very evident. It's that we must learn how to connect, how to create an experience that people will enjoy. You see, I've been talking for a very long time, because I always correct myself and tell people, everybody can talk, it's not everybody can speak. That's why when two people are talking, you will hear somebody saying, "Are you listening to me?" That's because one person is talking, they are probably not speaking. Speaking is a different thing. Talking is the authoring of words. Speaking is when you author words with a purpose at the end of the day. So anybody can talk. But I've been talking for a very long time until I began to really understand what it means to speak. When I talk, I have my notes ready. I have my points. So I get there and I'm throwing the points out one after the other. But I got to understand that it's not about the things that I say, that words are just 7% of all of communication. That I needed to understand how I say it. I needed to understand also my body language. Now, I began to look at the fact that, okay, sometimes I need to create an experience that people will enjoy. When people enjoy an experience, they connect better. They want to come in. So if I am a mathematics teacher, for example, I'm in class, and I just come in with the mathematics, which I already know might not be easy for everybody to understand, and I just go it the way it is, equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, and I'm done. The students are not done. The next thing is that they want to leave class because it looks like, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. I thought there was a disconnection somewhere. And so they enjoy it, so they are connected. If they don't enjoy it, they're not connected. How do I create an experience that everyone enjoys? Again, speaking from authenticity, I look for common grounds. See, I always tell, especially having trained teachers, I always say, if a teacher really wants to make something happen for the students or the pupils, the teacher must come to their level. You can't speak above the head of people. You have to come to their level. So one of the connections I made with my children while they were still very young is the fact that I go to their level. Sometimes I crawl on the floor, I play with them on the floor. So that created a kind of a bonding, because people like it when you are at their level. But when you are trying to form and put yourself at the level that's above them, they immediately get disconnected. So, and this is why I always say, especially for those who are in churches, we will need to change the trajectory. When people begin to dress beyond the children, when you dress beyond the children, you are all decked up with all your ties and everything. And the children you are coming in there and they're just looking at you as that's somebody over there. There's a disconnection almost immediately. But that's based on what we understood before. But now we understand better. You come in there and you're looking in their own level, you're on their own level, then you connect better. We must be able to create that common ground. That's how we create rapport. Right there and then, you create a common ground and people are able to say, and look at it very well. I mean, in real life, let me close on that note. In real life, when you travel to a place, most people, maybe 90%, I don't have my statistics, but most people will immediately get to an environment and they are looking for somebody that is from their tribe, that is from their color. It's so easy to bond because we are looking for common ground. So it's easy to connect. So the moment you want to create that spirituality in the place of education, first things first, connect with the children. I don't know if you have watched this video before, but there's a teacher who will come in and she's at the door. And as the students are coming, she gives everybody a different welcome. Either give them a high five, and give them a knuckle, all manners of things. But she was connecting with each person at their level. And that's very important. Let me yield the mic now.
Wow. I have a teacher. I am learning, actually. I am really, really, really learning. And I'm sure you as a teacher, watching this right now, you're learning as well. I'm sure you're picking one or two things that you're going to implement in your day-to-day activities with these children in the classroom. Okay, Coach JMT said how she connects is that she walks the talk. Doesn't just say it, he does what he says. Onye said he gives people opportunity. He sees good in them. give them trust ahead. And Coach BC Akondeda as the inspirer is saying that it levels on authenticity, and you said you look for common ground. Wow. Okay, before I begin to try to digest it, because I'm beginning to go into the thought mood now, I'm trying to digest it, but before I do that, let's go ahead. I'm going to digest it later. Let's go ahead. Now, we want to talk about how spirituality is important in the life of a child. You know, I am going to base this on the spirituality everyone was talking about, because at the beginning of this session, I asked audience to tell me what they think spirituality in education means, and everyone kept on talking about the Christian religious knowledge, that is CRK that we did in school, Christian religious studies, CRS. People started talking about Bible knowledge, Bible study, and the rest of it. Actually, it is part of it, but that is not the whole package of spirituality in education. So I want us to talk about how important spirituality is in the life of a child. Before we do that, I want to read out what Maria Montessori and some other foundation members of Forward Moving Education said. They said that education is the art of developing a child to be physically, mentally, intellectually, socially, academically, and spiritually. Foundation members of Forward Moving Education did not even see education as just learning, as in the cognitive part alone. They also see the values, the morals, the intellect, and the spirituality as part of it. And they said it is to help a child discover him or herself, knowing who he or she is, know that he or she have healthy relationships with people, and know that he or she needs to value virtues and know antisocial behaviors to avoid. And he or she needs to grow up to know that there is a supreme being somewhere, and that is where religious education comes in. This is coming from Maria Montessori and some other foundation members of education. So how important is this spirituality in the life of a child? Because I know that I have seen schools that say, here, there is no CIS, there is no IIS, there is nothing like spirituality or whatever. All we are here to do is to build your cognitive aspect of life. Yes, sir, it happens because they're trying to be in the middle, sit on the fence, where they don't say, I'm a Christian, or I'm a Muslim, or I'm an idol worshiper. All they just want to do is come to school, let's teach you 1 + 1, 2 + 2, you cram the things, you just everything cognitive, but no other thing is included. So how important is this spirituality in the life of a child? I'm going to go straight to Inyo Diaka for that.
I think thank you for the question. I think this is where training the trainer comes in, teaching the teacher, educating the educator. You see, when you have people who run institutions of learning and they are not properly educated on what it means to balance education or dispense balanced education, that is when you see such arguments. I don't want religion in my... So spirituality in education has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with speaking in tongues or traditional beliefs or things like that. Like we mentioned, it's about deep connection based on moral values. Now, in educating the educator or teaching the teacher, I strongly advocate that teachers who are taught must understand that in everything they do, there must be element of kindness. You see, as they live out these virtues that cut across every aspect of human life, not just teaching cognitive, not just adding emotional intelligence, but teaching children goodness, teaching children consequences for actions, not just saying sorry and allowing it pass, but understand that even when you say sorry, you have to face the consequences of your actions. You see, it makes children, all of us, everywhere, properly balanced entity. It's a collective responsibility of everyone in the chain to develop this mindset and understand that we respect people, not because they are big, not because we see them as noble people in society, but because they are humans. They should be respected. Now, there's something I wrote down here. Let me read it verbatim. I said that we must teach them to live above race and color. It's the responsibility of both teachers, parents, and adults in the lives of our wards to teach them to live above race, above color, above religion. Even when we understand some primary things about life, we must teach them safety. We must teach them the need to emphasize good over bad or evil. We must teach them empathy. They must understand that there is no room for competition, but there is room for cooperation. PBA will always say, and I think it's because of the training he got from the John Maxwell team, that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, then we must learn to collaborate. We must learn to partner with other people. It is a combination of several heads, good heads, that makes us able to achieve great goals that will live beyond us. And these are things we need to inculcate in our children. Every child is on a different path. Some may appear intelligent in other areas. Some may appear not too intelligent in other areas. It's our responsibility as adults to help everyone blossom in their unique space. Our leader here will always say that when I come to a place or a space where I'm not the guru, I'm not the expert, I don't lead, I follow. That is because we understand that, listen, there is no competition in life. Where you are good at, be good at that particular space. Where you are not good at, relax. Either you learn more or you allow others lead. So this is something we must do. This is something we must inculcate in trying to let every child understand spirituality in education as they grow up, that life is in such a way that we can all live it and be happy, irrespective of who we are, where we are, and our status in life. You are muted.
Apologies, please. Okay, thank you so much, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that nugget. I'm going to go straight into the next question, and this is going to be to Coach JMT Peters. Now, we know that these children should know that there is a spirit being somewhere. So how do we help them know that there is a spirit being somewhere? How? Do you have an idea of how we can push to these children that there is a spirit being somewhere, just like the education expert said, that we should let them know that there is a spirit being somewhere, and this is where the CRS or the religious education comes in. So how do we help them achieve this? Coach MEC, are you there?
Yes. Thank you very much for that question. I'm here, but like I said earlier, that I had to put up my video because I've been getting some, that the internet is fluctuating. So I think you can hear me, so we can go ahead with this. Okay, so thank you for that question. For me, what worked for me, when my children were growing, so let me use my children as a typical example. I remember there was a particular day and something happened. I think I was looking for something and I was asking my children, who did this? The way children will always push things to themselves. I didn't take it. I didn't do it. I didn't do that. I started to think in my head, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this thing? How are they going to tell me who did this? And, as parents, we normally, sit down with our children to do daily devotions, we read the Bible, we do all sorts. They get used to all these things gradually. They're learning from all these things that sometimes we think that what we are doing, do they really make sense? But they actually do make sense. To us, we may not see it at that point, but later in life, we begin to see all these things. So I didn't actually know what to do. So what I did at that point was like, okay, I brought out the Bible. Of course, they know what the Bible is. And then one of them, I said, okay, you said you didn't do this. She said, yes, Mom, I did it. I said, okay, hold this Bible and say it. Just hold this Bible and tell me you didn't do it. And the next thing, he started looking up and down. I said, I actually did this. I didn't know how to tell you. Do you understand? So I made him know that you don't have to lie. And there's somebody, I keep telling them that if you lie, even if I don't know, you know, and then there's somebody that is watching you that knows what you have done. So that kind of creates that fear in them. So they don't want to do what is wrong. So that's one of the ways I was able, to help myself and also my children. I created that fear in them. They don't want to lie, and they grew up, knowing that all these things, they are not meant to be doing them. They don't want to lie. Especially when you mention God or when you mention Bible, they are afraid. They don't even want to hear them. So that's one of the ways that really helped me a lot, with them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. PBA, the Inspirer. I'm going to direct my question from what Coach JMT said to you. Because of our time, I would have had Coach JMT, but because of our time, I want you to answer that question. She said the fear. But we have children that do not have fear. We have children that will hold that Bible and still tell you, I didn't do it. I did not do it. Because, I actually see, I've seen where teachers have told children that close your eyes, close your eyes. If you don't close your eyes, the devil is going to pluck out your eyes. And I remember telling the teacher, the truth is when this child opens his eyes, and there's no devil that plucks his eyes, you know that child will not believe anything you say again. Because they'll just tell you that is how she says it. Don't mind how you just say it that way. So there are children that they are the daring type of children. They don't care. They tell you nothing will happen. Nothing. They still hold that Bible and they tell you, I didn't do it, even when they did it. The fear does not work for them. So how do you now inculcate this spirituality? Helping them know that there is a spirit being somewhere in these kinds of children.
Actually, you probably don't even need to inculcate that there is this, that you are spiritual. Because basically, first and foremost, we all agree with the fact that we are all spirit beings. That's basically, we are all spirit beings. Talking about fear, everybody has something they fear. Those things come from our environment. Where do we gain our personality? A child came into this world, nobody taught that child how not to be afraid or how to do those things that they do. Most often than not, they get these things from the environment in which they have found themselves. And that's where it happens. Many of these times, that environment. So when you see a child that is bold enough that can actually, like you said, which I have seen, hold the Bible and still lie, it's coming from the environment. If you check the environment, you find out that there is a connection between that child and the people around him. Maybe the parents, maybe the elderly ones, or something, but there is a lot of those things happening there. He has inculcated those habits, and because it's a spiritual thing, you do not actually know when that's happened. So basically, what you need to do is to put the child in an environment that respects and appreciates spirituality. When a child is in an environment where he respects and appreciates spirituality, you find it happening because we are spirit beings, every one of us. We are all spirit beings. When a child is in that environment, so it begins from me, it is the environment. We must be able to create for the child an environment that allows him. And take a good look at this. I don't know of now, but because again, we have created an environment in certain churches where people disrespect certain things. I grew up in a Catholic church. When you come into church, it's a major difference. In fact, it doesn't matter how you wear, your behavior changes practically immediately. There's you go to the front, there's where you see, there's where you do this and all that is there. But because of that environment, plug the same person out of that place and put them in another environment, you can see a different thing. That's how environment affects us. So what we need to do is to create that environment that allows them to be able to see the values that are necessary and then be able to do the things that they need to do right. That's my take on that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. So basically, what we have all said is that we need to model it to them. What we do, what the environment portrays to them is because no child actually became what they are, become what they are all of a sudden. They actually learn it from you, that's the immediate parent, the environment, the school, from people around them. That is how they get everything they portray. Thank you so much for this amazing time with you. But before you go, this is about um, teaching the teachers, just like Coach Onye said, that you educate the educators. How did you put it, sir? But I know that is what it meant.
Educate the educator, train the trainer.
Train the trainer.
Train the trainer. Yes, train the trainer, educate the educators. All right. School the schoolers. or educate the proprietors, educate the school owners. Just this forum is for that. So before we go, I would want us to drop one or two things we think can help teachers in the classroom. I know Coach JMT has told us about walking the talk. Don't just say it, walk it. I know he has told us believing in them, giving them trust ahead. I know Coach BC has said that we should be authentic with them and at the same time find common ground with them. But what else do you? Because I know you wrote a lot of things down to be here today. I know. So what other things do you think you can add for teachers to actually achieve this connection, this deep connection, so that when they are teaching, children do not just get disconnected? Because I've seen where teachers are teaching and the students are just disconnected. It is all that they have in their head is that just finish and go. And that is why you have students who tell you, I hate math, I hate English language, I hate this, I hate that. Most times when they like a subject, it's not actually the subject they like, it is the teacher that they like. So how do these teachers now achieve this deep connection between themselves, the students, and the subject matter? Coach Yemisi, let me start with you, then we end with the Inspire.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. For me, I would say to the teachers, speak it, but do more of it. It's not just enough to be speaking it. You have to be doing it. They have to see you do it. You have to model it. They would always do what they see you do. It's so funny that, sometimes when children get home and some things happen, or maybe even their teachers make a mistake, the children will not agree with you that their teachers made the mistake. They would, because they believe so much in their teachers. Whatever their teachers say is what is right. So it's very important that these teachers see themselves like that. Whatever impression they take away from school, it's what they take home. Even their parents are not right. They will prove it to you that their teachers are right. So teachers need to be very, very careful. And then I would also like to encourage schools to introduce practical initiatives that become part of its curriculum. I know some schools have this, as well as models to help build the right perception from inception of learning in schools. All these things are very important and critical at this time because these children are exposed to a lot of things, And then the use of some physical models, maybe like use of flashcards. I have a nephew that is always, every time he has his flashcards, he's reading. So it's something they see all the time. So they get used to all these things. Okay, it interprets different things to them: kindness, love, empathy, like Coach Onya said before, good behaviors and gestures, morals, values, and beliefs, which denotes positive address in the society. All these are important. Use of spiritual and positive slogans and languages, place them around all the classrooms. I see this in some schools. Let's just continue to do more of this. Image posters, highlighted to raise emphasis on the need for spiritual knowledge, which allows the children to store these good images in their head. They will never forget. Help with the perception of good over bad. Let them understand. Once they know all these things, they are doing it. It becomes part and parcel of them. You don't even need to remind them anymore because they are used to doing these things. Then let them also engage in physical, events, which affords children the opportunity to have spiritual conversations and expressions between themselves. Then also appreciation notes when they do things. Appreciate them, say it to them. This my nephew. I observe that his parents, when he does anything good, they'll tell them, "Oh, you're doing great. You're doing so well. Oh, that's a good job." And you see him, he's jumping up, he's happy. So every time, encourage them. Every child is good. You can always see the good in every bad. No matter how bad a child is, you will see one good thing about that child. But you need to believe in them, and they also need to believe in you. You need to help them, to trust themselves more. Okay. And then also, this approach helps then indicating good morals and values on how important it is to practice these good behaviors and spiritual morals. Then also creating platforms where children are encouraged to speak up on these set beliefs that can identify as good and processes that has encouraged them to attain good values and morals. With this, other children are also encouraged to see it and also want to be like other children. They model these things, to other children. When they do things, teach children how to say thank you. Even as teachers, don't look at, because you are older than them, you can't tell them thank you. You can't tell them sorry. Even as parents, sometimes we'll do some things wrong. We are not telling our children. We are not apologizing. We see it. Why would I be apologizing to my child? That's not right. When you do something that is wrong, apologize to your child. I'm sorry, it wasn't deliberate, and don't do that again. So don't see it as I'm not supposed to be doing that. You are, even as a parent. Apologize when you are wrong. So many things teachers need to be doing. Appreciate them, award them, give awards for good behaviors, for showing love, for showing kindness, for showing empathy. Award them. Let other students, to let them see what other children are doing, what what they are getting. You will see that they would also want to be like those other children. It's not just about awarding children in doing well in English language, mathematics, and even in morals. Show it to them, and you will see, before we know it, all other children would also want to be like the ones that have been awarded or are doing well in those areas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you. You have said, in fact, you packed all of them together. Thank you so much. Okay, Coach Onye, can we hear you in 30 seconds?
Thank you. Let me talk to, is it proprietors, employers, teachers. Okay. I have a dream that one day we would de-emphasize certificates and begin to elevate character. I have a dream that employers, HR practitioners, teachers, school owners will possess such qualities as personal integrity, strength of character, righteousness, not in the righteousness like we teach it, but righteousness. That is a feeling of social service, selflessness, an inspiring personality and leadership ability. And we begin to elevate these over just certificates and skills and aptitude. I really look forward to a time where we will elevate these over certificates. Really.
Thank you so much. That statement is something we can dwell on for 1 hour. So let me not dwell on it. Coach BC Akode, let's go ahead with you, sir.
Okay, so thank you for all the wonderful thoughts. Like a closing thought, one thing I believe is that when we begin to apply spirituality in the case of education, children will learn better. Now, how does this happen for the teachers? I think that teachers today need to be more intentional. When I say teachers, I mean teachers in the classroom, teachers outside the classroom. We need to be more intentional. We need to understand that it's not about us. Yes, it begins with us, but it's more about the people or the persons that we're dealing with, especially when they are the younger children. We need to be more intentional, and then teachers need to be self-aware. Where are we ourselves when it comes to the issue of spirituality? What is our value? Are we good role models? What values do we present out there? What do we put there? Is our life an open book from which people can learn, from which the students can learn? When you look at those two, that's what builds on our spirituality. It's important that we get that. So we need to be self-reflective, we should be contemplating and be able to get out some stuff to say, okay, well, this is where I am and this is where I intend to be, and then improve ourselves. These two things I think are critical. We need to be intentional and we need to be self-aware so that we can actually also model the kind of life that we expect. We model the kind of spirituality that we expect from those that we live. Thank you very much. Let me leave the mic.
Thank you so much. Be self-aware. Know where you are. When you know where you are, it's easier for you to know what you need to add for you to get to where you're going to. So that is where we're going to draw the curtain today. As a teacher, as a school owner, you need to develop yourself. Don't just be static. Don't stay where you are and say, I know it all now. No, you can't know it all. We keep learning. We keep learning, like I tell you all the time. To learn means to grow, and growth is inevitable. But later I changed it and I told you that to learn is not to grow. Actually, to apply what you have learned is what makes you grow. Not just knowing it, not just learning it. Application of what you have learned is actually what brings the growth. How did I change it? I actually got another knowledge that helps me understand that it is not just about the learning, it's also about the application of what you have learned that helps you grow. So as a school owner, as a teacher, as an educator, either in the four walls of a school or outside the school, in any sphere of life, once you're somebody that packs knowledge, know that you must be self-aware, know where you are and know what you need to add to yourself to get to where you desire to be. And the truth is, when you get to that desired place where you want to be, you begin to aspire for another level, and that is where you begin to add more to yourself. That is why we say we keep learning. We learn every day. Yes, thank you so much, Coach BC Akonde, the Inspirer, Coach Onyinye, and Coach JMT Peters. Thank you so much for today. Guys, you can follow them on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. They are there. Coach BC is BC Akonde, real BC Akonde on Instagram, is BC Akonde on Facebook. Onyinye Odiaka is the same Onyinye Odiaka on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Coach JMT Peters is JMT Peters on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. Follow these people. They are the ones you need to draw from. Draw from them at every point in time. And I'm sure none of them will turn you down. They are there to listen to you. They will listen to you and they will answer your questions at any point in time. So you can follow them on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You can follow us too at Holistic Edu-Consult on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can follow me, Olubumi Odiaka. I'm on Facebook, Olubumi Odiaka. I'm on Instagram as Levitating. But if you type in Olubumi Odiaka, you'll still get me there. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter as well, Olubumi Odiaka. Everywhere, Olubumi Odiaka. All right. So spirituality in education is what we have learned today, and I want to make sure that you put them to practice. That is why I'm going to mention some things to you now. I remember my son in a particular school where he was before, where a teacher told him that he had learning disability. And because this is my field, I told the teacher it is not possible. He doesn't have learning disability. Learning disability is not something that cannot be managed. But because I know him, I said, no, he doesn't have learning disability. And I discovered that he was being taught wrongly. As a 3-year-old child, you were teaching him 100 tens and units. You're teaching him place value. How can that child comprehend that? It's not possible. It's not. It is not. Except for, well, we can have children who are 3-year-olds comprehend that, but I have not seen anyway. Comprehend place value at 3, I've not seen. And when my child began to hear the statements, it began to affect the way he thought. But when I changed his school, and this school I'm going to mention is not a publicity, whatever for them, I'm sure the woman herself will be very, very surprised I'm mentioning this, Rochester Schools in Satellite Town. They are not just teaching the children all about the cognitive part of education alone, the cognitive, the affective, the psychomotor, that is what they are all about. And I have seen them inculcate spirituality in these children. I have seen them teach children how to sleep. How to sleep. How? I in my head, I thought about it. But the truth is, education is not just about a child reading and writing alone, just like I read to us what the foundation members of the education said. It is about spirituality, intellect, values, virtues, a lot of other things, not just to read and write alone. Teachers, school owners, put everything you hear on Holistic Edu-Consult to use. Make sure you use them. Don't just hear them and just jot down. It's not about jotting, it's actually about applying all you have learned. So today I'm going to say thank you for joining us. Thank you, Coach BC. Thank you, Coach MEC. Thank you, Coach Renye, for impacting us. Thank you because you helped us to learn, to unlearn some things, and to relearn some things. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, to learn is to grow. And like I said earlier, it is just about to learn and to apply what you have learned brings growth. And you know that growth is inevitable. Once we stop growing, we start dying. All right. I say goodbye to you here. Thank you. My audience, I'm sure you're ringing the bell for them. Thank you, our coaches, for being here today. Thank you so much. And we say bye for now. Bye-bye.